Few places on Earth let you begin your morning atop a 2,000-meter mountain, cool off with a swim in crystal-clear coastal waters by midday, and end your evening sipping wine at a serene vineyard. Welcome to Montenegro, a compact country packed with staggering diversity. Montenegro, a place where ancient fortresses rise above turquoise bays, where cobblestone streets whisper stories of empires, and where wild mountains cradle villages untouched by time. This is not just a travel destination, it's a story, waiting to unfold. Welcome to Pass the Postcard. Today, we're going beyond the glossy images, deep into the heart of Montenegro, its beauty, its past, and the spirit that binds them together. We begin our journey in Boka Bay, often called Europe's southernmost fjord, but geologists will tell you it's not a fjord at all. It's a submerged river canyon, shaped by time and tectonics, and it's stunning. At the heart of the bay lies Kotor, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Wander through its maze-like old town, Venetian walls, Romanesque churches, and cats everywhere. Locals say the cats are the true guardians of the city. But look past the postcard. Those stone walls? They've withstood sieges from Ottomans, earthquakes, and pirates. The Cathedral of St. Tryphon, built in 1166, it holds the bones of a 3rd century martyr and survived 2 major quakes. Hike the Fortress of San Giovanni. It's 1,355 steps, but the view from the top, worth every breath. Hop on a boat to Our Lady of the Rocks, an artificial island, created stone by stone over 500 years. Legend says a painting of the Virgin was found on a rock in the sea. So the locals built her a home right there above the waves. Every year, on July 22nd, they still throw stones into the sea to keep the island alive. Just across the bay, harassed, quieter, smaller, and straight out of a painting. There are more Baroque palaces here than actual streets. Harassed was once a maritime powerhouse. Local captains ruled these waters and left behind a legacy in stone. Let's head south to Budva, Montenegro's party capital. Beaches, bars, DJs booming into the night, but scratch the surface, and you'll find layers of history. The Greeks were here in the 4th century BC, then the Romans, then the Venetians. Today, cafes line alleys that once echoed with Latin hymns and cannon fire. Just beyond, Sveti Stefan, a 15th century fishing village, now a luxury resort. It's Instagram famous, but only guests can enter. Still, walk the beach, sip a coffee nearby, and breathe it in. And here's the thing, Montenegrins don't rush. They have a word, Polako. It means slowly. It's not just a word, it's a way of life. Sip your rakija, watch the sunset, no one's in a hurry. Head south, keep moving, beyond the polished towns, the familiar stops, the crowded guidebook pages, until you arrive Ulcinj. Here, the wind speaks in a different tongue. Arabic arches meet Venetian windows. Minarets rise beside churches. This is Montenegro's edge and its oldest soul. Ulcinj once echoed with pirate songs. For centuries, it was a haven for corsairs, seafarers turned rulers. Locals say Cervantes, the Spanish writer, was once held here, in chains, and that he wrote about a girl from Ulcinj in Don Quixote. But look deeper, you'll find mosques over 500 years old. Their courtyards still hushed, with prayer. Cafes where Turkish coffee is served thick and slow. Markets scented with sumac, figs, and sea salt. And then, the sea, endless. The beaches here aren't crowded. They've lived in. Families, fishermen, barefoot children. The sand is dark, fine, warm with stories. Ulcinj isn't curated for tourists. It just exists, alive, layered, unbothered by time. This is where borders blur. Montenegro meets Albania, East meets West, history meets myth. And somehow, in the blend, Ulcinj stays whole. Keep following the southern road, and it dissolves into silence, a space where land, river, and sea hesitate, then meet. This is Ada Bojana, Montenegro's quiet edge. a triangular island born of silt and legend. Cradled between the Bojana River and the Adriatic, they say it was once a sunken ship that caught the river's drift and rose onto land. But today, it's wooden cabins on stilts, fishermen's homes that rock with the tide, hammocks swaying between weathered posts, salt on every surface. The air smells of grilled fish and untold stories. No resorts here, no rush, just wind carving waves, and the sun is slipping lazily behind the horizon. Bojana is not a place for sightseeing. It's a place for stillness. A river on one side, the open sea on the other, and time, somewhere in between. This is where Montenegrins come to disappear, to write, to read, to breathe. The sand here is soft and untouched. Even the waves seem careful, not to disturb it. And if you listen closely, when the tide shifts and the sky blushes, you'll hear it, the quiet freedom that only places untouched by urgency can offer. Now, let's climb into the mountains. To see Montenegro's soul, you need altitude. We begin in Cetinje, once the royal capital. It's a quiet town now, but it hums with stories. Visit the Cetinje Monastery, centuries old and still active, a place of faith, resistance, and memory. Nearby, high on the windswept slopes of Mount Lovchen, lies the mausoleum of Petar Cvetu Petrovich Njegoš, poet, prince, philosopher. He helped shape the very essence of Montenegrin identity. His poetry wove together faith, freedom, and defiance. And he asked for one thing: to be buried above the clouds. From up here, you see it all: mountains, lakes, and on clear days, even the sea. It's as if the land itself is whispering its story. Cetinje Monastery, dating back to 1701, it holds immense spiritual and political importance. Rebuilt time and again, after Turkish destruction, it stands as a symbol of endurance. Inside lie relics of Saint Petar of Cetinje, one of the most revered figures in Montenegrin history. People come here to pray, to reflect, to remember. Because in these mountains, amid the clouds and the stones, you don't just find views, you find meaning. Head north, and you enter Durmitor National Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Glacial lakes, deep canyons, and alpine peaks. The Tara River Canyon is Europe's deepest, second only to the Grand Canyon worldwide. You can raft it, or just stand and stare. Black Lake, or Kurno Jezero, sits like a mirror among pines. Locals call it the eyes of the mountain. On clear days, it reflects the peaks perfectly, as if Durmitor is watching you back. And here's a beyond the postcard moment. The highland villages nearby still live much like they did a century ago. Hay is stacked like cones. Sheep are herded by voice. Old men in black vests sharing stories in smoky kafana. Skadar Lake is a vital ecosystem shared by Albania, home to over 280 bird species. But it's also steeped in legend. Locals whisper of sunken cities beneath its waters, and battles were fought for control. Skadar is a living intersection of nature, myth, and memory. There's a place in Montenegro that feels otherworldly. Ostrog Monastery. Built in the 1600s, carved into a vertical cliff, it's one of the most important pilgrimage sites in the Balkans. The Orthodox monastery of Ostrog ranks among the most visited sites in the Balkans, drawing over 100,000 individuals and groups annually from around the world. Notably, it serves as a meeting point for believers of Orthodox, Catholic, and Muslim faiths. Pilgrims' accounts often describe experiencing cures and relief from life's challenges through prayer at the relics within the monastery. It's not just architecture, it's resilience. It's a belief in something bigger than ourselves. Biogradska Gora, one of Europe's last remaining primeval rainforests, a place where trees grow undisturbed, and silence feels ancient. Some of the lakes here, they're over 500 years old. Their trunks wide, roots tangled, branches reaching like memories. The forest floor, it's thick with moss and stories. Footsteps here are muffled, not out of caution but reverence. A still lake sits at the center, mirroring the canopy above. The water doesn't ripple, it listens. Locals call it enchanted, and you can believe it. Biogradska isn't dramatic like the canyons, or wild like the coast. It's quiet, deep, patient. This isn't a destination, it's a return to something slower, older, to a version of the world before maps and motors. In Biogradska Gora, even time walks barefoot. This is Lake Piva, man-made, yet somehow more beautiful than nature ever planned. Created when the Piva River was dammed in the 1970s. The lake swallowed valleys, villages, even the old Piva monastery, which was carefully moved, stone by stone, to save it from the rising tide. What remained behind, it is a canyon, carved in silence. The water is impossibly clear, cold, deep. It winds like a vein between walls of rock, reflecting skies and shadows in equal measure. Few travelers come here, fewer still stay. But those who do, they whisper of tunnels through mountains, of winding bridges hanging over turquoise voids, of villages that appear and vanish with the mist. It's the Montenegro you find when you stop chasing the highlights and start listening to the land. Montenegro is small, but in that space it holds multitudes. It is more than just a postcard. It's a story, a feeling, a discovery. Whether in the echo of a mountain wind or the silence of a monastery, there's always something waiting beyond the view. It's where east meets west, where empires collided, where mountains touch the sea, where the past isn't just remembered, it's lived. So yes, the postcards are beautiful, but behind every mountain and cobbled alley is a story, a history, a heartbeat. And that's what we're here for. Thanks for joining us on this episode, Looking Beyond the Postcard. See you in the next story, Behind the Scenery.